G'day everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to Off Camber episode 7. We've brought Ishane back. He's made the cut. He's made the
Got the
cut.
second call up.
He's got the second call up for Suzuka. So this is our Suzuka preview. We'll go through a few headlines. We've talked about fucking Sonoda enough. So
I think everyone has.
yeah, yep. And we'll go through our predictions for the weekend and discuss what's going on. So Suzuka is would you say it's one of the favourites on everyone's list?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Got a lot of history there. Everyone's seen the video of Prost and Senna.
Yeah, 100%. We've also had a close finish. That was in 22 when Seb and Alonso, what you're talking about before, remember? Seb in his last Suzuka finished 0.01 in front of Alonso on his last race at Suzuka.
Yeah, because they used to end the seasons there.
In 22. So it's always given us some good racing. It's one of the classic sort of historic tracks, I think. And it's track of high skill.
Track of high skill.
I feel like it's more driver dependent. And we'll see that this weekend. So first of all, I've done the in the last episode I spoke about Sonoda in, Lawson out. So what's your take on that quickly?
It's one of those decisions. You say it's stiff, but it is fair.
Yeah,
because Red Bull, they're looking at it from a team/business perspective.
Yeah,
and if you're in the battle for a constructors championship where it's already looking shaky, McLaren are leaps ahead of you.
Yep.
Probably better to make the call early if you're seeing signs of underperformance.
Yeah, 100%. But 2 races, mate.
It is
it's races.
Stiff. It is very stiff.
Anyway, enough of that. So Suzuka is a maximum tire degrading track from Pirelli. So pretty much
I'm talking maximum.
Yeah. So it's a maximum degrading. So who, I guess from my perspective, this probably favours McLaren, who we saw in Australia was probably the only team that was able to really make their tyres last a full lap in qualifying. So I guess that's definitely going to assist them probably the most. Otherwise, I think it's going to help Max out in a way because we know that his skill level's through the roof. So
I'd put George and Leclerc in there as well.
Yep.
As tyre whisperers.
Yeah.
Saw glimpses of that last year.
Yep. 100%. So obviously, if anyone's going to be able to bring the pace out of the Red Bull, it's going to be Max. But I think he's had some good results. So last year it was Max P1, Checo P2, Sainz P3. Do you think Sainz is going to get on the podium again this year?
I don't think a week's enough time for
I've had two predictions of Sainz on for a class drive and I've fucking bowled 2 wides.
Yeah.
I'm 2 for 2 air balls. So
he's in a bit of a teething period at the moment.
Yeah. And there's also been stuff coming out that they're using rebuilt chassis from last year's car.
Yeah, I think they just built on top of it.
So I don't really know how that would impact things for Sainz, but
Sainz reckons the car was good in winter testing or Bahrain testing.
Yeah, well they had early pace in Australia, so maybe they're more of a straight line track.
Yeah, get on the drag strip.
Yeah, but quite the contrary in old Suzuka. We know it demands a lot in the mechanical and aero grip with the S's and 130R spoon corner.
Yep.
Spoon corner's a classic. So it's quick and it relies on a lot of that ground effect to keep the cars glued to the floor. So also something that I took note of, which I didn't in my first Australia preview, is it's going to rain, which I know about. Not like last time where I didn't know. So, yeah. So, a bit of a spanner in the works for Suzuka's race day, potentially with rain. Potentially, if it's going to be one of those wet to dry sort of scenarios, how do you see it playing out with, you know, who's going to benefit from that? Who's going to benefit from strategy? Is it going to be similar to story as what we had in Australia?
I'd say if it's going to be wet, Max, Lewis, can't count them out.
Yep. 100% agree. But will McLaren cock up the strategy this time? That'll be the big question on my mind. If they come out leading, how are they gonna play? Do you reckon team orders is going to come into effect this weekend?
I'd say so. It did in Australia.
Yeah, we did hear that.
Yeah.
They told Oscar to hold stations.
Yeah, but then they told Lando the same thing in China.
Exactly. So it's going to be an interesting year for McLaren. Could be a little throwback to the old Marlboro eras. We'll see how that sort of plays out.
They don't do too well with two number one drivers. Historically.
But it's so rare that
a team does.
Because now that it was sort of Lewis and George, and then now it's George has clearly taken over that team. And Ferrari, you've had Sainz and Leclerc, which was Charles was probably always that Ferrari boy.
I wouldn't say that Ferrari was a two number one driver situation.
I mean, really, last time that was really probably evident was Rosberg and Hamilton in 2016.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's usually a bit of a spitfire. I'd say, because how can you contain it when?
I'd say I don't see it working to win championships.
Nah, probably not drivers, but constructors, they should clean up.
Yeah.
Just a matter of, do they get in each other's way to prevent one of them sort of winning a driver's title, which I did predict this year would have been a Ferrari, although they're not off to the best start, but we'll see how we go. Next up in the headlines, new liveries for the weekend. We have the Haas and Red Bull doing one-off liveries, which I'll show on the screen for you guys as well. But have you seen the Haas?
I haven't.
I'll show you the Haas now.
So just edited it in post-production.
Yes, you'll go into post, mate. Don't worry, up on the screen.
Don't show your phone. You've got a privacy protector.
Just for a Ishane here, So the old cherry blossom look for Haas is it's a bit of a banger, I reckon. Low key banger. Have a look at that. Have a scroll through. So they've gone the cherry blossom, low hanging fruit there for Japan. Low hanging fruit,
very low, yeah.
But I think it looks fucking clean. So definitely happy with that. I reckon that's
hot
fact.
take. But I was a fan of those pink BWT cars.
Me too. No, I don't reckon that's so hot.
2020.
She's a lukewarm take.
The tracing. What do they call the tracing point in 2020?
Yeah. So, it looks very nice. I reckon. I mean, it is very low hanging fruit, but I think it works well. Something different for them. But I was surprised they even. Oh well, they've got fucking Komatsu in, so his home race. I guess that's probably why.
Can't polish a turd though.
and then the Red Bull, the Red Bull boys cracking. Sorry, the Red Bull is a banger. I reckon this is so.
Yeah, they've done really well.
This is the 2021, the Timu special, the Verstappen Timu special. I reckon it one ups it.
That's where he won the championship, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the 21. Yeah. So Red Bull's gone the white. And it's like a metallic. No, it's like a satin candy apple red.
Yeah.
And fuck, it looks phenomenal. The race suits as well. That's the race suits.
Yeah.
Like that's an easy 10. And Sonoda actually, the interesting thing is Sonoda, the car it's made after, which is this on the left. Where is it? The car it's built after Sonoda drove at Goodwood last year or the year before. I'm not exactly sure. This is Verstappen driving it, but yeah, that's the car. It's got the old Honda logo, the old Honda writing and it's a proper fucking tribute.
I didn't
So
realize that Honda. I think they own a part of Suzuka, the track.
yeah,
Or-
so one of the Honda companies is a part owner in Suzuka.
yeah,
So yeah, it's fucking clean.
yeah.
It's pure class, mate. Pure class. That's
Should stick around.
yeah. Well, maybe they've just tricked Sonoda into thinking he's still driving a V Cup.
Yeah.
Then maybe he might do well. So we'll see what happens. But those are the liveries. I'll put them up so you can see. And yeah, so let's go on to the predictions. Straight into it here. Let's go Shane first. Guest, got to take the guest on first, for the predictions. We'll go through them and then discuss. So take us through your poll.
Pole. I'm going Oscar.
Yep.
Patriot.
Yep.
But I also reckon he did. We saw it in China.
Yep.
That lap, he said it was definitely worse than that first lap he put in Q3.
Yeah.
And then he said he was about to abort it, but he said sent it into the hairpin and it worked for the best.
Yeah, he gained 2/10 or something.
2/10 in a corner.
So almost like TC on a Assetto Corsa, mate.
Yeah. You can find a lobby.
Yeah, so he's definitely improved in that area, I reckon. So I don't think that's a bad shout. We'll rate that. I've gone for Norris, who I still think is probably quicker or overlap, but it will definitely be very close. It'll probably between those two, I'd say, and Verstappen. So for that pole lap. So I've just gone Norris based on the fact that I think he's just got more experience and he's quicker over a lap. So that's my take. Winner, who have you got?
I've got Max.
Max, okay.
If there's a sniff at rain,
Yeah.
I reckon he's definitely the guy in charge.
Yep, okay. Makes sense. I've got Piastri for winner. Piastri, I reckon if it rains as well, he's going to be coming in strong because after Australia, obviously, he probably wants to prove himself a little bit. And I think he'll run a good race in the rain. Whether it's dry, he'll still run a good race. And I think he'll get a second victory for the year. Definitely probably a McLaren double podium, I'd say, as well. From my point of view, they just, apart from a DNF or a spin or something like that, I'd say they pretty much a lock for a double podium. Fill in the third spot. Could be either a Verstappen or a Hamilton. I'm sort of saying is my third sort of podium spot. Who have you got? Who have you got on your
podium?
Yeah, podium list.
I got George.
Yep.
And I reckon Leclerc will be on there as well.
Yep. So, who is your class drive?
Class drive, I'm giving that to George. It's going to be Russell.
Yep. Okay. All right. Where's he going to finish?
This is tough.
Yeah, it's tough
I've
when you
not
got.
thought of
It's
it.
tough when you got to say it out loud.
There's too many
Positions.
yeah.
Yeah, because there's anything that could happen. Yeah, especially if it's wet. So it's like, fuck. Well,
I'm saying that he'll have a spot on the podium.
wait. But you just said Verstappen and Leclerc is your podium.
Yeah, and George.
Hang on. So you've got Verstappen as a win.
Yep.
Leclerc P2.
Yep.
And George P3.
P3, yeah.
So there's no McLaren on the podium.
Nah.
There's no McLaren on the podium.
Nah.
It's a lock. There's no McLaren on the podium. Right. So I've got a double McLaren on the podium. Shane's got 0.
None.
Fuck me. All right, we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. One of us is bowling whites.
Yeah.
But okay. My class drive, a bit of a low hanging fruit, I reckon. But it's a bit against the grain. I'm going Sonoda. I reckon he's going to turn it up at his home GP.
Very tail engine.
Yeah, it's the Netflix special.
Yeah.
Sonoda goes into the Red Bull in Suzuka and bags a like a P6. That's sort of the go there. He's been driving great this year, so if anyone can do it, it's going to be him out of those three between Lawson, Hajar, and Sonoda. He's definitely going to be able to prove the Red Bull's a mid-range, not great car. So not a P20 car. That's
No,
what,
it's
yeah. So like, that's where it's like, yeah, okay, Lawson, you fucked it, but there it is. All right, run wide. What do we got? What do we got?
I'll be honest, I haven't thought of this one.
He hasn't done his homework.
I've not done my homework.
He hasn't done his
I didn't do
homework.
it. You go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Shane's going to have a think about it. My run wide drive is Leclerc. So I reckon Ferrari's been shit. They've just been a bit inconsistent in their pace. They haven't had the worst results. Obviously, they got, though, the double DNF in China. The results weren't bad, but it's still a DNF at the end of the day. And they had the win in the sprint with Lewis. And Australia, they were sort of nowhere. So I don't know. I just reckon they're not figuring it out. And they probably need another race or two to get properly settled in. So I'm saying Leclerc is just going to have a stinker. And he's going to out maybe like a ninth. I'm saying in the 9 to 12 range, he's going to finish. So, which for him is a top
Out of the points.
He's a top tier driver in my book, and him being 9th to 12th is a run wide drive. Now,
going Frenchman Esteban Ocon
in the tractor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's still a Formula One car.
Yeah.
But I'd say Suzuka doesn't really favour those who are overly aggressive.
Okay.
He doesn't leave a lot of space.
Might make a few errors, couple of snaps of errors.
Yeah.
A few bites of the cherry.
I reckon Ocon will drive into someone else.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Yep.
It'll probably be hectic back of the pack. Can only imagine how fucked it would be. Like actually trying to navigate a start through the S's. It's like imagine going like too wide through there, and you're like wheel to wheel with another guy. Obviously, it's easier when you're all going the same speed, but still, fuck, it'd be pretty rough.
Because Suzuka is not very easy to overtake. So if you are going to get a place, it's on lap 1.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. I mean, it's not really an overtake-friendly track. I feel like
a repeat of, not a repeat, but could be a lot like China.
Exactly, and especially if it's a dry race, it could sort of follow that flow of where we're talking about gaps and lap times rather than
get a good understanding of where everyone's at.
Yeah, can you just like pass on track? Probably not. So it's going to be in those gaps and the pit stops and stuff like that. So unless it's wet, I don't see the because there's a lot of wash, and when you lose downforce in the car from the car in front, it just becomes impossible. I don't see only really overtaking I'd say for these cars is probably the hairpin and after 130R, the last chicane,
Yeah.
So that's sort of the gist of it. I think qualifying will be good to watch. It's always good to watch at Suzuka because we're going to have full committed laps. And I actually don't know the forecast for Saturday, but if it's dry, it's going to be bloody entertaining because we always see good committed laps at this track.
We're going to have to save this one as well until we have to start staying up real late.
Yeah, so this is the last race of the Aussie calendar, meaning we get to watch the races conveniently.
Yeah.
So I know Europe's been fucked. Suzuka, fuck me, Japan. Sunday. So Saturday, cold. It's saying cold conditions. And
optimum for performance.
Yeah. So hopefully we see some quick times. And Sunday is 18. Yeah, so it's still saying 75% chance on Apple weather, which is fucking garbage. But everyone else is saying raining as well. So we're sticking with raining. It's going to be an interesting race, and yeah, that's all our predictions. So. Unless Ishane, you got any other comments on the race?
No.
So we'll be watching it closely, take some notes, and we'll come back for our review on Monday, Tuesday after the Grand Prix.
You've seen the preview. Sit tight for the review.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You've heard it here first. So we should be able to get it out Monday. So that's all we got for today. Thanks for listening to Off Camber. I'm TC. This is Ishane. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you for the fucking review.